Alright, welcome to this Codex review. It's the brand new Codex for Harlequins. Games Workshop have very kindly sent me a copy through, and so in this video it'll be a full review of the Codex here, and it'll be a Tactica. I've postponed it for a while, but I have started collecting Harlequins. Some of the new plastic models. In fact, I've got a load of them. I've got enough to build an army, but it's all been on standby for a while, waiting for the day when this Codex arrives. I have been looking through the Codex. It looks like Harlequins are even stronger than they were before, which is excellent. It's a dazzling sort of army. They're quite unique, really, compared to the other armies that are out there. A very exciting army, very excited to be collecting these. And so now I have the Codex to go along with the army. So I'm very, very excited here to review this Codex. So, as I said, this has come from Games Workshop. Usually get my codexes and miniatures from gamingfigures.com. You can check them out. They do Games Workshop at a discounted rate. When the Codex becomes available, they'll have it there and you'll be able to get it at a discounted price. Some money off the regular cost. So, it's not too big, a Codex here, but Harlequins, when I first got back into Warhammer 40,000, Harlequins was really just, you could take a troop or a Shadow Seer, for example, and it was just part of the Eldar Codex, and you can add them into your army. It was quite hard to, you're very restricted to actually try and form an army of Harlequins. Then with 7th edition it sort of developed a little bit. They started to get their own Codex, so they really have come on well, and now they've got a broad range of plastic miniatures that are absolutely fantastic. They're beautiful models. Remember a few months ago when I was over at Warhammer World, they had the Harlequins there on display, and the models are absolutely fantastic. Beautifully sculpted models. So a real showcase army, and a real very, very strong theme and a very strong play style with these. And a challenge, you've got to move in rapidly, as you'll see in some of the artwork here, and they just, it's like a wave that rolls over across the top of the opponent. A real challenge to take on things like Space Marines, Astra Militarum. Can that charge be successful? That's the way I'm going to try and build an army, is that devastating united charge, and then to destroy the opponent with a dazzling display of skill and deadly close combat and firepower ability. That's the overall plan as I try and build up this Harlequins list. So I have a list, and I'm wondering how much it's going to need to change here with the new Codex, but we'll see as we go along. So an amazing piece of artwork here, which we'll see a bit later in full colour. This is giving you an idea of your colour scheme here. I think there's a fair bit of new artwork in this Codex. So, you know, we know they're not going to be too tough. Their vehicles are quite lightweight, not many wounds. Their infantry, not amazing save, so they can be hacked down quite quickly with firepower. The key for them is to engage quickly, as quick as possible, to cut down the opportunity the opponent has to fire, and then just to overrun them. A dazzling display of close combat. That's the theme behind these. So there it is. This is the artwork here. Love this theme going on. The Eldar are in trouble. They've been routed, and then the Harlequins turn up to save the day. And look at them, they're just rolling over the top here of these Death Guard. Fantastic artwork. Bit of a painting challenge though. What I hope to do is to release on the regular channel here a painting tutorial for the Harlequins. I think that will really help people out, especially with challenging things like the checkered pattern and so on. So I really want to do a painting tutorial for this channel, and then hopefully do an in-depth painting tutorial on the Plus channel as well, just to help people out with painting these up. It did put me off painting these for a long time, was the potential of painting all these patterns and so on. I didn't want to cheapen them and not bother with the patterns. I think it's such an iconic thing for them. But I've been painting some up, it's not been too bad. So the Fall of the Eldari here. Weapons of the Lethal Art. Again, unique weapons for them. Some amazing options. Some scary weapons here. Great stage, this is where they're active in the galaxy, the Black Library. Fighting here against the Thousand Suns. Harlequin Masks, this is their organisation here. And this is the different sort of inner faction types in Midnight Sorrow, the Vale Path. I think it's sort of this colour scheme I'm going for. Frozen Stars, the Dreaming Shadow. The Soaring Spite is another colour scheme I really like. Beautiful when painted up in that colour scheme just there. The Silent Shroud as well. The Dance Without End and the Twisted Path. Shattered Mirage and the Reaper's Mirth. I think they've expanded that, there's more in that. Dance of Aces then, this is the timeline. All the things the Harlequins have been up to. It's a famous piece of artwork here for them. Fighting against the foulest of chaos fiends. Troop Masters, this is your different types of units then. Troops, this is your regular infantry. Fantastic artwork here. Kicking some Ultramarine butt. It's one of the big motives for, for painting an army up, is to see them gracefully sweep over the Ultramarines, murdering them all over by turn 2. Really good. Again, I hope James isn't watching this video. Shadow Seers as well, some amazing psychers that they have. Death Jesters, which I wonder if, we'll see if they've improved. I was dropping them from my list, I didn't see them as that effective, but I reckon they could be, especially now the new Codex. Solitaires, very strange unit and rules for that one. Sky Weavers, one of my favourites, the 2-man jet bikes, absolutely fantastic. Beautiful models. And the Star Weavers and the Void Weavers, this is the lightweight vehicles here, which I rate them, I think they're really good. So you are limited in units, so the army I'm building is trying to be a showcase of all of the models. Just a nice spread of them here. Here they are, just gracefully moving across. This is this new Webway, we'll find out the rules for that as well. It's a nice painting reference. I mean, it's a challenging thing to paint the Shadow Seer. Look at all the checkered pattern on there. But if you are able to pull it off, they look incredible. It's such a showcase army here. This is the classic Harlequin style. I had some of the lead models, I painted them up in that style just there. It's still my favourite. Looks really nice on the jet bikes. They're incredible. They're absolutely beautiful models. And they're quite big actually as well. The vehicles, Death Jester. Yeah, I'm not so keen on the plain blocks of plain colour. It's the patterns on them that really sets them apart. So that's what put me off some of these other ones. Yeah, it's that traditional classic colour scheme there. This is giving you an idea of the structure of a Harlequin army, sort of a balanced mix there. Small units of troops, equipped characters dancing around them, and then support from the jet bikes and then from the transports and the gun platform vehicles there as well. They really are quite incredible. Very exciting, but they are a challenge for painting. So we're on to the units then. Troop Master first of all. There's been some improvements here. A good number of these. What we'll do is we'll cover points as we go along as well. As I said, we'll review the entries here, and I'll be talking tactics as we go along. I'm on the lookout here for unit combinations, what are the best loadouts to take. Later on we'll be covering things like Warlord traits, going to be important, relics as well, just things to help give your army a bit more of an edge. Stratagems as well, it'll be fascinating to see those stratagems later on as well. We'll review the units here. I'm going to cover all the details, so if you're new to Harlequins and haven't got an idea, I'm going to cover all these units for you here so you can see all the stats and so on. I'll be talking about strengths and weaknesses, and then if you're an experienced player as well, you want to know all the details. So there's something here for everybody. So, Troop Master first of all. A real hinge, I think, of a unit for the Harlequins, a very, very important unit here. So, they start out at 70 points, then you've got to add your upgrades onto them. So for 70 points, power level 4, movement 8, so blisteringly fast. They're really quick. So the great thing about 8th edition now is the different types of movement depending on the unit. So slow units, 5 inches, 6 inches, and then faster units, which they're meant to be faster, they are rewarded with a quick speed. So movement 8 on foot, really, really good. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+. Strength and toughness 3. 5 wounds, 5 attacks. Leadership 9 and a 6-up save. 6-up save is not so much of a big deal, because the invuln save that he has, 4+ invuln save through the hollow suit. Cover the weapons in just a moment. Rising crescendos is one of the core rules then. This model can advance and charge in the same turn. In addition, it can fall back and still shoot and or charge in the same turn. This is his whole theme with the Harlequins of this, rolling over the opponent, being able to charge quickly into one unit, roll off of that unit, charge into another one. So you're able to reflect this here with the rules. You can advance and charge, in you go, break off that combat, charge into something else. And imagine you've got multiple units that can do that, so you're just dancing about all across your opponent's battle line. And that's the exact representation of how they're meant to be, so excellent rule that. See, a soft army, which is, these aren't the toughest, and they're infantry of toughness 3 and so on, but so the key for them is to be able to close down the range and get into combat and stop tanks from shooting and so on, and cut down the infantry before they're able to first rank fire, second rank fire and blow you away. But these have every advantage doing it. These are pretty much move turn 1, contact turn 2, and then the fight begins. So this is sort of how I'm basing my strategy of the delivery is on turn 1, and then contact and the full, getting all the whole army and the units to charge and so on turn 2. And then if you do well, it should all be over by then. You'll be able to hit the opponent with so much damage that they're not able to recover. If you fail to do, if I fail to do that, they'll start to get blown away. And so it's got to be a united charge and well coordinated. It can't be just little bits going in at a time. And also the other strategy of holding off and trying to do firepower is not going to work either. It's got to be this turn 1 move and fire, but then the ultimate aim is to get into combat with as much as possible. So flip belt, you can move across models and terrain as if they were not there. So again, you disengage, you jump over the top of the unit you're fighting against, or another unit, and you land the opposite side, so you're breaking through the enemy's lines and pushing onto other stuff. You know, there's a guard screen out the front. And again, this is countering common tactics in 8th edition. You know, unit or players put screens of infantry out, you could contact them, charge into them, roll off of them, flip belt over the top, and then charge into the heavier guns perhaps at the back of the line. Blistering movement from these, perhaps one of the fastest factions in Warhammer 40k at the moment. The invuln saves there. Choreographer of War. In the fight phase, reroll failed wound rolls for friendly masked units that are within 6 inches of this model. So, you know, not the strongest of attacks, but with reroll wounds, you're going to be causing terrible trouble for your opponent. Because it's, you know, reroll wounds against infantry, you're just going to stack up tons and tons more wounds. And then if you're low strength against vehicles, perhaps even 5s to wound, but if it's rerollable, those wounds are going to start coming through. So that's it. What's important here is, you see mask, friendly mask, you're probably going to need to keep, you don't want too many different masks here going on. You want to keep them the same so that this character can benefit as many models as possible. It's only going to count if they're sharing the same mask. So weapon types then. We'll cover the points for these as we go along. What's the best configuration? And again, perhaps leave that in the comment section. If you've been playing these at the index level, then what were your favourite combinations? That's unit size, talking about troops and so on later on, Harlequin troops. And again, troop master and the different units here. But what's your favourite combinations? For troops, what the unit size? Weapon configurations, do you take pistols or not? What melee weapons did you use? What's the size of the unit? That kind of thing. So share that in the comment section. It'll be fascinating to see what loadouts worked well. And then in the light of this review and the new rules and so on, then how's that going to affect and change things as well? Just have this video as a good resource for Harlequin players. Now, this is the weapons then. You're starting at 70 points. So I don't think it's a big deal. If he ends up around about 100, I can't see that being a problem, about 100 points, because it's a fantastic stat line here. So you can go for a fusion pistol, range 6, it's pistol 1, so remember if it's your turn you can fire it whilst you're in combat. Strength 8, AP -4 and D6 damage, it's a horrific weapon. You can choose, you roll 2 dice for your damage, discard the lowest if you're within 3 inches, which if you're in combat then you'll be able to do that. So that will cost 9 points. It's not a bad cost really, pretty good. The Neuro Disruptor is 12 inches, it's double the range, it's pistol 1, remember you're hitting on 2s, strength 4, -3, and it's D3 damage. So again, not bad, it's like a tamer version of the fusion pistol, and it's going to be cheaper. No, it's 10 points, it's 10 points actually. No, it's out of those two. It says if the target is a vehicle, it's damage 1. Depends what you're fighting really, but I would choose a fusion pistol over the Neuro Disruptor for sure. Yep. I think you close to range 6 pretty quick just with the movement and so on. Yeah, Neuro Disruptor is what I would go for. Fusion pistol is what I would choose, I reckon. So you can take Shuriken pistol, that's the weapon that you get free of charge. Imagine. Yep. At range 12, pistol 1, strength 4. You got the Shuriken roll there. If you wound on a 6, it's AP -3. So it's okay, but fusion pistol's good. So now for close combat, the Harlequins blade. That's your usual weapon that's going to come free of charge. And you're basically fighting strength use, which is strength 3, AP 0, and 1 damage. There's no way you'd want to use that. You've got to take some kind of weapon. So this is the, I really used to struggle, which do you choose here, the Caress, the Embrace, or the Kiss? Harlequin's Caress, first of all. It's +2 strength, so you'll be fighting at strength 5. It's AP -2, which is healthy enough, and then it's 1 damage. The Caress will cost 7 points. The Embrace is +1 strength, so you're fighting at strength 4, but it's AP -3 and 1 damage. Difficult choices here. The Embrace will cost you 6 points, a point cheaper. They're all decent enough. I'd maybe go Caress just to give you that 3+ to wound against things like Marines. Yeah, here's another thought here. If you're up against things like Lehman Russes, toughness 8, your Caress will be wounding on a 5+, the Embrace will be wounding on a 6. That would be perhaps crucial in a game. So I'm liking the Caress a bit more. But then you have the Kiss here, which is +1 strength, AP -1, but the damage is D3. And that could soon stack up. You suddenly get a few D3 damage coming through. That may well be helpful. And the Kiss is 7. So they're all quite sensible in points. I'm probably going to have a mixture of all of them in the army. I'm liking the Caress a bit more than the others. Just got that nice edge off the AP -2, which is good, and then that strength just tips it up to strength 5. Which is helpful. It pretty much should be wounding, no matter how tough something is, unless it's toughness 10, you're wounding on 5+ against most of the tougher targets, and then regular infantry, you're on your 3s to wound. Then you can go for Power Sword. I wouldn't bother with that, it's cheap though, it's 4 points. But strength for the user, so you fight in strength 3, safety -3 and 1 damage. So, no. And then Plasma Grenade, range 6, it's grenade D6, strength 4, -1 and 1 damage. It's a decent grenade, one of the better grenades out there. And they comes armed with that standard. Let's have a look. Here. Plasma Grenade here. Yeah, 0. Okay. So, this model replaces Shuriken Pistol with a Neuro Disruptor or Fusion Pistol. This model replaces Harlequin's Blade. We've covered all those. Okay. So that's him done. So you can equip him nicely. The other great thing about characters is you can hide them behind other units, and if he's got something like a Fusion Pistol, he can fire from behind his units. He's got to obviously get quite close, but he can fire from behind and harass the opponent with firepower, and they've got to get through the other units in order to get to him because he's a character. So, but you know, a decent unit, you can equip him really well, and then this Choreographer of War, rerolling wounds, is essential. It really is helpful. Well, easily better pay for himself in points, really just by amplifying the other units. Now, I would take 2 of these, I think, in my list minimum, if not 3 of them. Shadow Seer then is next. This is your Psyker for the Harlequins. They're quite expensive. They're 125 points. So, but then a Farseer for the Eldars, sort of similar kind of points cost. It's power level 7, movement 8, weapon skill and ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness 3, 5 wounds, got plenty of wounds, 3 attacks, so you can still do stuff in close combat, leadership 9 and a 7-up save. He's armed with Shuriken pistol, hallucinogen grenade launcher, which is 0, actually you don't have to pay for that. And then he comes with the misstave, which is 0 as well, actually. So it looks like a flat cost for that. I would, in the previous list that I had, I was quite put off by the points cost of him, but they are good. They can fight in close combat. You've got your Psycho for your casting your powers, denying your powers. We'll cover their powers a bit later on in the review. And then there's some other benefits that he comes with as well. It does have his 4+ invuln save. I'd imagine the whole army is pretty much 4+ invuln save. Rising Crescendos is your advance and charge and so on. He's just as quick as everyone else. Flip belt, the same as well. Shield from harm. Your opponent must subtract 1 from wound rolls for any attacks made against friendly masked infantry units within 6 inches of any models of this ability. So again, this whole idea of trying to keep your army together, you know, advancing as 1, charging as 1, matches the rules for these. You know, there's a lot of units within 6 inches here, units within 6 inches here. So the whole idea is this: they all move up together, and then, like a hornet's nest, they sort of break and burst and buzz around the opponent once they break in. So that's the sort of the idea. You're waiting to deliver that Harlequin bomb and then just set it off in amongst your opponent's battle lines. And what a glorious thing. I mean, it'd be so exciting to do it. Just a dazzling charge. Really cool. So yes, I'm looking for firepower for the army because I don't want to just a raw sort of charge in. So I do want some softening ability with some firepower for definite. But then I still want, whether it's firing or not, pretty much the whole army to still move up and close in the range as 1. So -1 for ruined rolls. Got to remember that. Imagine that's a rule that's quite easily forgotten, you know, in the heat of a game. But -1 to wound rolls. Any attacks. You know, it's any attacks here. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is shooting as well. It's not going to help the vehicles, but for infantry, you know, you're hit with heavy bolters, 3s to wound, becomes 4s to wound. It's all just knocking down the ability of the opponents. And it's well worth doing. You're trying to preserve your army on turn 1, to keep as much of it alive as possible. So anything like this that can help, you know, reduce the effectiveness of what the opponent has, then it's worth doing it. You know, if you're going to build a Harlequins army, perhaps different to other factions out there, you can pick and choose what units you want. But for Harlequins, it seems that you need a spread of everything. The army perhaps will work better when you have a spread of all the different units. So hallucinogen grenade launcher, which I think is an excellent weapon. It's range 18, assault 1. Should be able to close range 18 quick enough. If a unit is hit by this weapon, hitting on 2s, then it's assault, so you can run and fire it, or advance and fire it. Roll 2d6. If the roll is equal to or greater than the target's leadership, so you've got about an average of half a chance of getting this. It suffers D3 mortal wounds. And remember, you've got psychic powers to use, you've got smite to use, so he effectively pretty much can be chucking out a lot of mortal wounds and damage. So I think he's worth the points. And again here you can take your Neurodisruptor is available for him, which may be worth taking. He's at 2+ to hit. Shuriken pistol, and then the misstave, which is +2, so he fights at strength 5. It's AP -1, it's D3 damage, so he can cause trouble for units as well. This model replaces Shuriken pistol with the Neurodisruptor, and we've covered the rules just there for him. But I think he's worth taking. I'll take maybe again 2 or 3 of those is well worth doing. Yeah. So, and for a faction with not many models, unit options, you want them all to be pretty good. because you are limited for what you can choose. This is the one that we're wondering here how good the Death Jester is. So regular troop here. So this is your troop's choice. So covered HQs, 2 of them. I think the rules, the stats for these are mad. Yeah, there's 4 attacks as base for these. So, you know, small units, you saw earlier on in the examples of armies here, unit 5, and you think, well, unit 5 of those, what are they going to do? But you have 4 attacks each. It's a blistering amount of attacks available from them. Movement 8, 3+, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength toughness 3, 1 wound, 4 attacks, leadership 8, and 6 up save. 4 up invuln is available. Flip belts, they can jump over stuff, and then disengage and so on for rising crescendo, and they can advance and charge. You have to take 5 of them. You can include an additional 7, so you can go up to unit 12. My opinion, smaller units is better, and then I need them small to fit into the transports. Each model is armed with a shuriken pistol, Harlequin's blade, and plasma grenades, and that's 0 points added on for that. You're at 13 points a model, so unit 5 is going to be cheap, and then you just add on the cost of your items here. So it's all the same stuff. We've covered all of these: fusion pistol, neuro disruptor, shuriken pistol, the blade, the caress, embrace, kiss, and plasma grenade. Do you mix and match them to deal with different types or all different types of targets, or do you go give them all fusion pistols and caresses perhaps, or do you, what's the combinations there? That's the way I think I'm going to play them. Say you've got a unit here, perhaps this is your troop master, you've got unit 5, then I would do a couple of bodyguard models, so ones with no upgrades at all, and they're the ones that take the wounds and the damage, and then perhaps give 3 of them your upgrades, so your caress and your kisses and so on. And that helps keeps the cost of the unit down, and it means that the first few casualties that come in, you haven't spent out points on upgrades. I reckon that's how I play them, I reckon. And you know, 3 of them armed with caresses, you think, well, it's just 3 of them, but that's 12 attacks. That's going to be like 8 hits, and then you're re-rolling your wounds. You're going to cause trouble for infantry units that you charge into. So, you know, as a foundational unit, they are absolutely excellent. They really, really are good. So, brilliant. So now is the Death Jester. So you're looking at 13, 12, so to fully equip these with a nice amount of weapons, you're looking at about between 100 and 120 odd points for 5 of them, if you're going to go for all the pistols and stuff. But they've got the ability to take on anything. But the key, they can be mown down quick enough. The key is to get them to do the damage before the opponent can hurt them back. So, Death Jester then. 45 points. It starts off, that's cheap for a character. This is the elite section that we're on. Here's power level 3, power level 5 by the way for the troop, power level 7 for shadows here. Movement 8, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength toughness 3, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9 and 6 up save. So he's armed with a Shrieker cannon. 0. Okay, so cheap. So the Shrieker cannon, you choose any wound rolls of a 6 for this weapon is AP -3, whichever profile you choose. It's interesting. So you can go for Shrieker. Range 24, a bit better range here. Assault 1, Strength 6, -1, and 1 damage. Each time an infantry model is slain by an attack with this weapon, so you find it like a guardsman unit, for example, in the open, you get your wound, you hit 2+, wound 2+, it gets a 6 up save, fouls, the model's slain. For example, it suffers D3 mortal wounds, nice. Any models in a unit are slain by this weapon, subtract 2 from their leadership characteristic until the end of the turn. Whoa. It's not bad. It's not bad, it's -2 from your leadership. Nice. Yeah, not bad. You can go for Shuriken, Assault 3, Strength 6, no minus on the AP, and 1 damage. Just regular shooting. Rising Crescendos available, flip belts available on the 4+ Invuln. Deadly Hunter. This model may target a character, even if it's not the closest enemy unit. But then are you really going to cause much trouble for a character? Not really. Nope. Death is not enough. If enemy models flee from a unit in the same turn that has been attacked by this model, you can choose the first model that flees instead of your opponent. Whoa. Nice. If you fire at tactical squad, well, they're probably not going to run away, but if you're firing at a target, they've got a heavy weapon buried in there, you can choose that model and remove it, or remove a sergeant, for example. So if you can pull that off, that's going to sort of a unit that's going to cause disruption for the opponent. But there's some tweaks here with these rules. I think they've changed it slightly. But morale's not as common now. There's a lot of factions out there that cope very well with morale. When we play games, not many units lose models after morale, not too often. So morale issues not as much of a risk as it used to be. But Death Jester's alright, it's very cheap. 45 points just to fill out your elite section. Right, next is the Solitaire. He's 84 points, power level 5. So 84 points, you've got to add on your Caress and your Kiss to that. So you're looking at about 100 points for him. It's a strange, I haven't painted up, he's finished actually. Yeah, it's a strange unit for sure. It's only one per army, so you can't take more than one, which is fitting, it's such a unique model. So, again, you sort of choose which melee weapon you want to use, which is helpful enough. Movement 12, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength times 3, 5 wounds, 8 attacks, leadership 9, and 6 up save. It's got a 3+ Invuln save for impossible form. Rising Crescendos available, flip belt as well. Path of Damnation, the Solitaire can never have a Warlord trait, even though it's a character. And then Blitz. Once per battle, instead of making a normal move with the Solitaire, you can make a Blitz move with it. So this can be any turn you want. If you do so, add 2d6 to its move characteristic till the end of the turn. So it's movement 12 plus 2d6, so you're looking at about just short of 20 inches move, if not more on average. In addition, its attacks characteristic is increased to 10 till the end of this turn. Remember, you're hitting on 2s. This ability may not be used if the model has been selected as the target of the Twilight Pathways psychic power in your previous psychic phase. So I think he's good. The games that I have played, sometimes I've taken risks with him and he's gone out ahead of the army and he's got blown away, so you've got to sort of be patient with him. Keep him behind other units to protect him. Right, so Skyweavers, my favourite unit here for the Harlequins, these jet bikes, 2-man jet bikes. Fantastic models, they're beautiful and they're you know, they are big, they're big jet bikes. So, you know, expect these to feature in my army here. Skyweavers then, they start off at 30 points, then you add your upgrades on top. The unit contains 2, you can take an additional 2 or up to 4 additional, so you can go up to a unit of 6. They're all under Shrieking Cannon and Star Bowlers. So we'll just cover the points cost for them. So Shrieking Cannon is probably going to be 10, yeah, so now they're 30 points, 40 points each if you go for the Shrieking Cannon. And then the Star Bowlers is 0. Okay. I had a real issue with these. I love the Star Bowler weapon, but I believe in the index you sort of had to take the whole unit had to have them or not. And then the issue was you can only throw 1 grenade a turn, and so the rest of the models are redundant by taking those, which is really annoying. I think it's been fixed now, which is good news. Yeah, we'll come to that. So movement 16, so absolutely fantastic for speed, very, very fast. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, strength 3, toughness 4, a little bit tougher, and then 3 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, and a 4-up save. So they actually have a save of 4+, and they also have the Invuln save also. Yeah, so then they I'll just cover the other rules here. Mirage launchers, which is really good. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls made against this unit. In the shooting phase, it's -1 to hit. It's a guardsman, guard tanks and so on, unless it's a commander. They're all hitting on 5s, it really helps out. Rising Crescendo is available from them. And then what's amazing for these, you know, they can fly, so they can pull out and shoot from combat, but also with Rising Crescendo they can charge again, so it's a very, very flexible unit. Blur of Colour, when this unit advances, add 6, it's a guaranteed 6-inch move. Amazing. So, you know, 22 inches guaranteed move with these, and you're allowed to charge. It's terrifying speed. Amazing. So I you know, definitely go for shooting with these. Definitely going to go for close combat with these as well. So yeah, you know, they have the weapons to go for an exchange of firepower, but they'll lose a lot of the time and get blown away. And so it's movement, firing, and then closing in for the kill. So Star Bowlers then. Yeah, this is the. I think this is a fix here. It says any model may replace its Star Bowler with a Zephyr Glaive. So the key now is you can go for. Say you've got a unit of 3 of them. Give 2 of them Zephyr Glaives and let 1 of them have the Star Bowlers, which they can then use that grenade ability to throw those. So fantastic news, because the Star Bowler is excellent. I'll just show it to you here. This is the bottom entry. Range 12, nice range on that. You better close that down. It's grenade D3. So you potentially get 3 shots with this. It's strength 6, it's AP -3, and it's 2 damage. Yeah, it's incredible. Love the Star Bowlers, and they look fantastic on the models as well. Although perhaps a bit breakable. It's one of the problems. So Star Bowlers then is free of charge. You know, you can have one of your models there with that aspect cover for no points cost. Your Zephyr Glaive will cost 6 points. So it's good. It's really good. The Zephyr Glaive then is +1 strength, so strength 4, AP -2, and 2 damage. So cut down your Primaris Marines with these very quickly. You get 3 attacks, nice healthy amount of attacks. Any model may replace its Shuriken Cannon with a Haywire Cannon. Again, I think this has changed. Haywire Cannon is 15 points. So they're both good weapons. Shuriken Cannon is decent enough. If you want to pay an extra 5 points, you can take the Haywire Cannon, which I think it's good. It's range 24, nice range. Assault D6. It's a lot of shots. You know, unit of 3 of these, chucking out 3d6 shots. So, you know, it's going to be good against vehicles, as you'll see, but good against infantry as well. Strength 4, -1. So this is a helpful unit, helpful weapon, and helpful weapon for clearing away screens of infantry. You got your guard squad out the front. These guys zip right up the table, unload a d6 shots, you know, per model, and then strength 4 -1. You're going to cut that squad down very quickly. Excellent. If the target is a vehicle and you roll a wound roll of a 4+, and remember you're getting d6 shots here, so you can plaster the vehicle with tons of hits. On a 4+, half a chance, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. If the wound is a 6 or more, or a 6+, the target suffers d3 mortal wounds. This lethal weapon. Incredible. Really, really good. So unit of 3 of those, perhaps that's the size I'd operate at. You'd be looking at about 140, 50 odd points. Yeah, expensive enough. But there's 9 wounds there to try and get through. 4+ invuln saves, -1 to hit them, and so on. But I go for that combat ability, so they can chip in and help with close combat for sure, make use of those Zephyr Glaives, and then the firepower available from them as well. Now, yeah, so your Star Bowler can be fired as well as your Haywire Cannon. Yes. So, because you're not replacing those, the under weapon is available, as well as the Star Bowler. It's a bit of extra firepower then. You could throw those into vehicles at strength 6, -3, 2 damage. No problem. So they're excellent. You know, they're going to be a bit pricey on points. I think units of 3 would be alright. I wouldn't go much bigger than 5, I reckon. But bigger units might be helpful if you're going to try and cast psychic powers on them or stratagems on them. The advantage is a large unit. The more models, the more benefit, and the better use of the stratagems and so on. Is there the ability to go for a brigade with these? Maybe, but a battalion for sure. At least, if not a double battalion perhaps, would work well with these. Tons of command points I think will be helpful for them. But a massive fan of those. Skyweavers are fantastic. So it's a very exciting units here. You know, it's a rare army, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to paint them up. You don't see them around very often, which is a shame because the potential of these is amazing. The models are utterly incredible. I mean, think of it. You know your own situation. How many Harlequin players do you know? If you know one that has a nicely painted army, it's quite rare, and it's quite a privilege if there's someone that you play against that has Harlequins. So I want to see them do well, and encourage people to indulge in this incredible faction here. So the next one is the Void Weaver. On to the... Alright, okay, this is the way they've done it. So it's heavy support there. The Void Weaver, this is the gunboat version here. I think there's been some improvements with this. Yes, there has been some improvements with this. Some slight tweaks here. It's all heading in a good direction here for the Harlequins. I think they were decent enough, but I think this is an army that's going to be feared here. They seem strong, for sure. So the Void Weaver then is 68 points, and you add your weaponry on top. So 16-inch range, they'll keep up the jet bikes. Exactly the same. Strength, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 6. So they'll not outlast other vehicles. 3 attacks, leadership 8 and a 4-up save. Now, there's a tactic here, and you know regular Harlequin players know this one. It's for the Star Weaver specifically. I suppose you could do it with these, but it's for the Star Weaver. The usefulness for your transport vehicles is the ability to you've moved right up close to your opponent, and in the turn that you disembark your infantry and then prepare to charge a target. And then your Star Weaver transport, all these if they're up close enough, can charge into that target first to absorb Overwatch damage, and once they're in, which is likely they will if they're on their full wounds, then you're able to charge in with your softer infantry. It's an excellent tactic the Harlequins have, or that you can use, because their transport's so fast, and you can put them to good use by charging into stuff. The great thing is they can fly. It means that a vehicle that can fly can pull out of combat later on and will be allowed to shoot. So you know they're not going to be able to weather too long. Only 6 wounds there. It's the essence of the key is to close down the range as fast as possible. Let them weather 1 turn of shooting, and then after that strike the opponent and cripple their ability to kick out a lot of firepower. So it's equipped with 2 shuriken cannons and a haywire cannon. So they end up being, you know, 68 plus 10 plus 10 plus 15. So you're pushing them beyond 100 points. But a fair amount of firepower available from them. You know, you've got 6 shots in total from your shuriken cannons. And the haywire cannon, I rate that weapon, I think it's really good. Now you may replace the haywire cannon with a prismatic cannon, which is 20 points, you're paying 5 points more. But I rate it here, it's decent enough. You keep your range 24, and you get to choose your profile. It's pretty good. The other amazing thing about these vehicles is there's no chart here because they're not high enough wounds. So you have one of these with 1 wound left, it's still firing at 3+ ballistic skill, which is another good advantage as well. So prismatic cannon, you go for dispersed, which is range 24, assault d6. You know, it's a bit temperamental. You could roll your dreaded 1, just get a shot. You could roll a 6. Strength 4, -2 and 1 damage. The focused is assault d3. Again, you could roll a 1, not chuck out very much. As far as shooting is concerned, strength 6, -3 and d3 damage. And the one that I reckon I'd be using a lot is the lance, assault 1. These are assault weapons, so you can make advanced moves and still shoot at -1. Strength 8, it used to be strength 7, it's strength 8 now, -4 and d6 damage. It's like your bright lance equivalent. So you still get your 6-inch to your move for advancing, you keep your invuln save and your -1 for your mirage launchers as well. And it does explode. On a 6, units within 6 suffer 1 mortal wound, so it's not so bad when that thing detonates. I still think I'd have a couple of these, but for a bit of fire support, I still think I'd have them still keep up with the... See, the way it can work is virtually the entire army goes up with your force, and then the idea is, you know, why would you keep those up with the rest of your army? But they can move up close into charge range, and then they could charge into, say there's a spare Lehman Russ, you don't have enough infantry units to charge everything, there's a spare Lehman Russ, it would be great if you could silence it. You could just charge him in, and then that stops that tank from firing at your stuff on the next turn. So that's the advantage of the more charging options available, even with things like gunboats here. I think it's worth doing, and then it can pull out and shoot and so on. The idea is, I think the way I'm going to play it is to charge into the opponent, overrun them, cause loads of trouble, and then some faster elements like these that are left, the jet bikes and so on, they can swing around later on to mop up across the board and to sit on objectives dotted about all over the place. That's the kind of idea, but I think there needs to be that immediate charge, deal with the opponent, and then worry about objectives and so on later on. I know a lot of armies I try and play that way, but for these I think it will be very important. So that's the gunboat option there. And really just paying for the extra weapon you're able to take, either the haywire cannon or the prismatic cannon. I think I might take 1 or 2. The Starweaver then is your transport, but still with the 2 shuriken cannons here. Power level 6, by the way, for the Void Weaver. Skyweaver's a power level 4. Starweaver, this is your transport, very useful I think. So 79 points for the Starweaver, interesting, it's almost 80 points for this one. Same stat line as above, as here, exactly the same. Same rules here, blur of colour, your 6-inch advance. Your hollow fields, the -1 to hit, explodes. Then open topped, 2 shuriken cannons, so you're looking at 79, 89, 99 points for this vehicle. 100 points. Yep. Open topped. Models embarked on this model can attack in their shooting phase, so you can fire out with your pistols and grenades and so on. Measure the range and draw a line of sight from any point on the model. When they do so, any restrictions or modifiers that apply to this model also apply to its passengers. For example, the passengers cannot shoot except with pistols if this model is within an inch of an enemy unit. So if you do find yourself in combat, you've got a couple of fusion pistols with the unit inside, they'll be able to fire. Interesting. Note that due to their rising crescendo ability, the passengers can shoot if this model falls back. Ah, interesting. Yeah, so that's helpful. So your options are really the 2 modes of play. I'd like the transport, the idea of them being ferried into battle. The other option is to save the points on the transports and just buy more, get more models and have bigger units of troops and then march them up the board, absorbing some damage and then making it into combat. I prefer this idea of rushing with the transports and then once you reach your destination, disembarking and fighting that way. That's the 2 different philosophies there, the way Harlequins can be played. That's your Starweaver. I hope to have a good few of those at least. Right, so this is new, the Webway gate. It's huge. A Wraith Knight can walk through it. So, it's like a terrain feature. So this is going to be interesting here. It's 120 points, so it's not too bad in points cost actually. You probably only want 1 of them. So Webway Gate then, there's nothing here, it's just toughness 8 and 14 wounds. It has a free up save, so it can be shot to bits by your opponent if they so wish. A Webway Gate is a single model formed from 2 separate pieces. When setting up these pieces, place them so that an arch is formed with the bases 5 inches apart. Okay, so that's the way it goes. So, Shimmering Arrival. When you set up this model during deployment, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 12 inches from the enemy deployment zone and enemy models, more than 3 inches from any other terrain feature or the centre of any objective markers. Right, so I've got to place it fairly. Eldritch Aura, it has a 5+ invuln save. I mean, immediately I'm thinking, what a distraction for your opponent. You know, they want to try and fire their heavy weapons to bring this thing down. Then they're not firing at your army. Immobile, it can't move for any reason, nor can it fire in the fight phase. Any models automatically hit it in close combat. They do not make hit rolls, however, friendly units can still target enemy units that are within an inch of this model. Right, so you can still, even though they're in combat with it, they can be shot at, by the looks of it. Okay, so Webway Strike. After you set up this model, any Eldari units that have not yet set up during deployment, other than fortifications, can be set up in a Webway spar rather than being set up on the battlefield. One unit on a Webway spar can emerge from each friendly Webway gate at the end of each of your movement phases. Set them up wholly within 3 inches of the Webway gate, more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. Risky this. If all friendly Webway gates have been destroyed, any units that have not yet arrived. Yeah, I don't like this. I do not like this at all. This is disaster. It's really risky. I was wondering how they try and do this here. I don't think I'm going to go for this one. All friendly Webway gates, if they've been destroyed, any units that have not yet arrived from the Webway spar are considered to be slain. No. No. I can imagine the opponent could cause a real nightmare for this tactic. In my opinion, I think that Harlequins have the speed to not need this gate. You can cover the distance if you deploy. I guess if you're in reserve, you can't be shot at. You know, you're keeping yourself safe, and you can just emerge from it. But then you've just got to sit in front of it when you do arrive. Yeah. See, when you emerge, one unit in a Webway spar can emerge from each friendly Webway gate. So it's only one. It's not. I had the impression of an entire army bursting out of this thing, but it's not. They have to queue up. one unit at a time has to come out. One unit in Webway spar can emerge from each friendly Webway gate at the end of each of your movement phases. Set them up wholly within 3 inches. Oh no! So you can't even go very far. You just got to sort of sit within 3 inches. And then you have to be more than 9 inches away from enemy models. Then your opponent could crowd it out and wreck the whole plan. And then, you know, if they really want to cause trouble, they just bring the gate down, and then all your units that you've set up in the spar are slain. Yeah. When measuring distances to and from a Webway gate, measure from the closest point on the model. If a Webway gate is destroyed, remove both arch pieces from the battlefield. You know, even if you didn't use it, even if you didn't pay the points for it, it's a nice terrain feature. You could have this set up on the board and just say it's terrain, and it's nice. It gives an immediate nice Eldar theme to a table. So that's a great idea for purchasing one of these. You know, it's an amazing, great arch thing. Or you could model it, you know, break it down and so on, and make it into a nice ruin of some kind, like a broken Webway portal, Webway gate. Look good. But I think I'm going to stay away from that. That is a real spaghetti nightmare. Sometimes I don't think it's could be a real pickle of trouble here. You could find yourself in a whole. It could really mess your strategy up. The last thing you want is slain units, and then you know your whole army's bombing up the table, and then your unit arrives within 3 inches and then just sits there. Oh, no, I don't know. I think that's such a good one. So I mean, it's difficult. I mean, if they made it where the whole army could burst out this thing and then they're on the opponent, that's not going to be fair either. So, but it's quite tame, I think, in what it can do, and it can mess things up. So that's that. So weapons and the masks. Then covered all of those. Covered all the melee weapons just there. This is your artwork supporting the Elder and Dark Elder here. And they're at the front. They're sent in at the first here. Right, so here we go. Some interesting stuff now. So we've seen the units so far, and I think it's all good news for Harlequins players. The irregular rules seem to be there. Some slight tweaks, which seem to be all positive, pretty much. There's some improvements. Really happy about that. With the jet bikes, you can take 1-star bowler and you can take Zephyr Glaives and so on. So they fixed that. So this is all excellent. So Harlequins units then, I'll just read in the rules as described in the section. We often refer to Harlequins units and Harlequins warlords. This is a shorthand for a unit or warlord that has the Harlequins keyword. Note that other Eldari such as the Craftworlds and Drakari deviate significantly in terms of organisation and fighting styles. These Eldari cannot make use of any of the rules or abilities listed in this section, instead have their own rules. Ynnari is a keyword that some units in this book can gain when taken as part of a reborn army, as detailed in other publications. If a detachment includes any Ynnari units, it is no longer a Harlequins detachment and will not gain either of the abilities listed below. So Harlequins detachments gain the following abilities. So Defenders of the Black Library, which is your troops. All troops, they trump other units when controlling objectives, just that universal rule there. Mask forms. If your army is battle forged, all units in a Harlequins detachment gain a mask form. Oh, choose from here. So long as every unit in that detachment is from the same mask, right? So again, it's sort of steering me in the direction of going for just like a straight battalion. No, you don't. You could mix and match your options here. It's interesting. You could go for some different combinations. Maybe you might want to split your masks, or just unify them, have them the same. Depends on which ones are strong here. The mask form gained depends upon the mask they're drawn from, as shown in the table on the right. Okay, for example, all units in a Midnight Sorrow detachment gain the Art of Death. Right, so depending on what mask you choose, that's the corresponding power. If you've chosen a mask that does not have an associated mask form, you can choose the form that best suits the fighting style and battlefield strategies of the warriors that hail from it. So you get an artistic license there. So here they are. This is free of charge here, so you're not paying points for this. So Midnight Sorrow, the Art of Death. I think this is the standard style that I'm painting up, so let's see if this is good. Units of this form can move an additional d6 when they fall back. In addition, units of this form can consolidate up to 6. Lots of extra range for movement in them. Nice. Yep, that seems good. Really good. So you can get where you need to be even faster with these. Consolidation, interesting, 6 inches. Yeah, great. So you, for example, a guardsman squad here. I always talk about Imperial Guard in this video. I'm going to go after them. You've got a guardsman squad here as your screen, a Leman Russ like here, and then you charge in, destroy the squad, and then your consolidation, you can go right the way up 6 inches, maybe make contact and silence something else. So yeah, it's helpful enough. The other ones here, the Vowed Path, the Riddle Smiths. At the start of each fight phase, roll 2 dice and discard the highest. To the end of the phase, each time your opponent targets a unit of this form, makes a hit roll that, before modifiers, exactly matches your dice result. That hit roll fails. Yeah, so you're missing with a 3, a 4, or whatever it may be. That's alright. Strange, that one. Very unique rules here. Frozen Stars, Hysterical Fury. A unit of this form charges in the charge phase. Add 1 to their attacks characteristic until the end of the ensuing fight phase. Nice. Extra attacks. Always good. These are interesting. These two so far. Soaring, my favourite, Soaring Spite, Serpent's Brood. Models of this form that can fly, which is vehicles and jet bikes, or that are embarked upon a transport that can fly, treat all pistol weapons they're equipped with as Assault 1. Nice. during the turn in which they or the transport they embarked upon advance. Yes, if you really are going for speed, you can still fire the pistols. In addition, these models do not suffer the penalty to their hit rolls for shooting assault weapons during a turn in which they advanced. Nice, yeah, pretty good. Dreaming Shadow, Somber Sentinels. When a unit with this form fails morale, only one model from this unit must flee. In addition, each time a model with this form is slain or flees, roll a d6 before removing that model. 4+, that model can either shoot with one of its ranged weapons, as if it were the shooting phase, or make a single attack, as if it were the fight phase. Yeah, it's not bad. Pretty good. And then Silent Shroud, the Dance of Death made flesh. Subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of enemy units whilst within 6. In addition, whenever your opponent makes a morale test for a unit within 6 of any units from your army of this form, they must roll 2 dice and discard the lowest. Okay. I think they're all okay. But I like simple benefits. The +1 to +1 to your attacks when you charge, nice. And you can be charging a lot. So that's good. And think of it, you know, you've got a mask of 5 Harlequins with their 4 attacks each, on the charge 5 attacks each. It's good. So I like that one. And then the Midnight Sorrow is quite straightforward really to remember as well. An extra d6 when you fall back. Consolidate 6 inches. So I like those two. But I think they're all okay. They're all helpful enough. Right, okay, so here we go. Stratagems here. This will be interesting. So, good news to the Harlequins here. They've got loads of stratagems. You know, not many units in this faction, but plenty of stratagems available. So the Great Harlequin, it's 2 command points. Use this stratagem before the battle. Select a troop master from your army. That unit gains the Great Harlequin keyword and has the following ability. Will of the Laughing God. In the fight phase, reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly mask units within 6 inches of this model. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. Okay, reroll once. Okay, so you've got to pay your command points for it to gain that. Okay, Enigmas of the Black Library, that's your extra relics. Webway Assault, this is what the Eldar get as well. 1 command point, or 3 command points if you put more models into this. Use this stratagem during deployment. You can spend 1 command point, set up Harlequins infantry or biker unit from your army in the Webway instead of placing it on the battlefield. This is going to be so helpful. If you spend 3 command points, set up 2 such units in the Webway. Any number of units in the Webway can emerge at the end of your movement phases. Set up each unit anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away from enemy models. You can use the stratagem once per battle. Right, so I would use this on my biker units. So, yeah, absolutely, definitely. I know the opponent, the games that I've played, the opponent's gone after the bikers. So what I'd do is maybe I've got 2 units of 5 bikers. I stick them all in the Webway. If I don't go first, then they're off the board. And then if I do go first, and I can bring them on later. If I do go first, I just bring them on. And then it works well with the bikers because with their 24-inch range, if I end up putting them in my own deployment zone, there's a high chance they're going to be able to support with some supporting fire. So that's an option. It doesn't have to be. It can't be your transports and so on. So it's bikers really. It's the option. Or you don't have to use that. It may just be just bomb them all up the table. You know, because you do cut down your options. If my army's turn 1, my army's flown up the table and all their transports, and these guys turn up and they have to deploy back, and then deployment zone is sort of out of. Yeah, it's an option, but it's tactically an excellent option to have. But you see, you'd be burning through your command points here already, so you want to get a nice base amount of command points available if possible. Prismatic Blur, 1 command point. Use this stratagem after Harlequin's unit from your army has arrived. This unit has a 3+ invuln save to the start of your next turn. Nice. So, you know, 3+ invuln save sounds great for 1 command point, but most units, they're on 4+ anyway, so really it's just an extra bit of help. So not arrived, it's advanced, so you advance. Yep, but helpful enough. Yep. Next is, it's only 1 command point. Hero's Path. 2 command points. Use this stratagem at the start of movement phase in which a Death Jester, a Solitaire or Shadow Seer from your army are within 6 inches of each other. Remove all 3 models from the battlefield. At the end of that movement phase, you can set up each model anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches from enemy units. Cool, that's the resurgence of that old formation back from 7th edition. Different rules obviously, but that's there. Interesting, that one. Helpful for objective grabbing. You know, you finished your attack, it's going okay, let's pull these guys away and put them somewhere else on the battlefield. Segarak's Jest. 1 command point. Use this stratagem when enemy unit falls back from a Harlequins unit from your army. After the enemy unit has finished moving, provided no other enemy units are within an inch of your unit, it can shoot the enemy unit that fell back, as if it was the shooting phase. Wow, there's no minuses here. Amazing. So imagine that with fusion pistols. Now let's just check this. Enemy unit. Right. So, for example, you've got a troop. This is incredible. You've got a troop here. You've charged them into a Limrus. Again, it's an Imperial Guard unit. You've charged them into Limrus. Their natural reaction is to pull back. You've given your troop 3 fusion blasters, or fusion pistols, and then you can hit them and shoot them with the fusion pistols. Unbelievable. 1 command point for making use of that. In my opinion, this would be a scary army to be up against. Someone who's got battlefield experience, a good list, well versed here of Harlequins and makes use of their stratagems and so on. It's a terrifying army here. There's some very powerful stratagems here. This one's excellent. Next is the 100 Swords of Vol. 1 command point. Use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round. Before the first turn begins, select a Harlequins unit from your army, remove that unit from the battlefield, and redeploy anywhere within your deployment zone. If you select a transport, all units embarked inside remain so when it's deployed. If both armies have units that can redeploy, the winner chooses, and so on. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. So it's a roll-off to see who does it first. That's okay. It'll redeploy. Again, tactically, you may find use for it. Torments of the Fiery Pit. 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the fight phase before attacking with a Harlequin's character from your army that has lost any wounds this battle round. Until the end of that phase, increase the strength characteristic and attacks characteristic of that model by 2. Nice. So your Death Jester, for example, has taken a wound. He's then, for 1 command point, is able to go up to strength 5 plus whatever, and then 7 attacks. Yeah. Or a Death Jester, or a Shadow Seer, or a Solitaire. Wow. Nice. Vessel of Fate. 1 command point. Use this stratagem in your psychic phase. A Shadow Seer from your army can attempt to cast an additional psychic power. Helpful. So yeah, these are all good. War Dancers. 3 command points. Oh wow. Yeah, this is the good one. Use your stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select a Harlequins unit from your army that has already fought this phase. That unit can immediately pile in and fight an additional time. Nice. War Dancers. Cool. Yeah, really good. All helps. These all really help. All these little helps here for this army. Fire and Fade. 1 command point. Alright, so this is an Eldar one here. Use a stratagem on a Harlequins unit from your army that shoots in your shooting phase. The unit can immediately move 7 inches if it was the movement phase. However, it cannot charge in the same turn it does so. A bit of extra move available. Dramatic Entrance. 1 command point. Use a stratagem at the end of your opponent's charge phase. A Harlequin's character from your army that is within 6 inches of an enemy unit can perform heroic intervention. That's very helpful as well. And move it up to 6 inches when it does so. Yeah, that's really good. That's excellent. It's quite a short distance heroic intervention. That one helps out. And it, you only play it when you know you can pull it off. It's not wasted. Warrior Acrobats. 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the movement phase when a Harlequin's infantry unit from your army advances. Add 6 inches to its movement instead of rolling a dice. That's helpful as well. Has to be infantry, yeah. Shrieking Doom. Use this stratagem before a Death Jester from your army shoots a Shrieker cannon or curtain fall. See that a bit later on page 77. Weapons, oh, that's going to be a relic. Increase the weapon's strength characteristic by 1 and its damage characteristic to D3 to the end of the phase. Interesting. Shrieking Doom. Nice. That's a bit of help for Death Jesters there. Issue's Weeping. While on command point, use a strategy at the end of the phase. Select a Harlequins unit from your army that suffered casualties during the phase. Improve that unit's invuln save by 1 to a maximum 3+ to the end of the turn. Okay. So you can combine that with, well, not combine it, but that's another option. Play Prismatic Blur on one unit, play Issue's Weeping on another. A Mirthless Hatred. Use this strategy when Harlequins unit from your army is chosen to fight. Reroll failed hit rolls and failed wound rolls for attacks. This unit, the target is Slanesh units. That's quite unique, quite rare when you come across that. Next is Labyrinth Laughs. The Labyrinth Laughs. One command point, use a stratagem when a Webway gate from your army is destroyed, but before you remove the model from the battlefield. Hey, this is good. This is helpful. Immediately set up one Aldera unit from your army that has not yet been deployed. Hold within 3 inches of the Webway gate, more than 1 inch away from enemy models. After you've done so, remove the Webway gate from the battlefield. Oh, there's your backup. That's very helpful, they've put that in. Okay, so that helps. Lightning Fast Reactions, 2 command points. This is another Eldar one here. Use this strategy when a Harlequins unit from your army is targeted by a ranged weapon or melee weapon. Whoa. Subtract 1 from the hit rolls made against that unit for the rest of the phase. So combine that with your Mirage launchers, looking at -2. Nice. Haywire Grenade. Hey, this is in the form of a stratagem now. So that's basically going to be your, when you throw plasma, a vehicle, it's D3 mortal wounds. Nice. Really helpful. And a lot of characters carrying these, so 2s for a hit. Yeah, you make 1 hit roll, and if it hits, it's a straight D3 mortal wounds. Nice. Nice way to finish off vehicles that are on a couple of wounds left as well. No price too steep is 2 command points. Use the stratagem when a Midnight Sorrow. Now we're starting to get into the different masks here. So Midnight Sorrow, when a character from Midnight Sorrow is slain, before removing the model as a casualty, it can fight as if it was a fight phase. If the character was a solitaire or it was slain by a chaos unit, add 1 to its strength and attacks characteristic when resolving that fight. Nice. So yeah, helpful for units like a solitaire with lots of attacks. Capricious Reflections is for the Vowed Path mask. Use this strategy at the end of your opponent's charge phase. Select a Vowed Path unit from your army. That unit can immediately perform heroic intervention as if it were a character. Interesting. Malicious Frenzy, 2 command points. This is for Frozen Stars. Use this strategy before a Frozen Stars unit from your army fights in the fight phase. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks for that unit that target enemy infantry, beasts, or bike units. That's alright. An example made. This is for Dreaming Shadow. Use your strategy in your shooting phase. Select a Dreaming Shadow character from your army. At the end of that phase, each successful hit roll made by this model causes 2 hits. And then hit rolls of a 6+ made for this model cause 3 hits on the target instead. Shooting phase. Yeah. Each successful hit roll. So I'm just thinking what units this would benefit. Fusion pistols, double hits. I need a command point to do it. The Shrieker Cannon on the Death Jester. Another one. Sky Stride is for the Soaring Spite. Use the stratagem just before a Soaring Spite infantry unit consolidates. Instead of moving towards the nearest enemy model, the unit consolidates up to 6 inches towards the nearest Soaring Spite transport from your army. If all models in the unit can end this move more than 3 inches, within 3 inches of the transport, you can immediately embark upon it as long as there is sufficient capacity remaining, as if it were the movement phase. You can do so even if they disembarked from the transport during the same turn. Wow, what a manoeuvre if you can pull that off. Disembark, do your attacks, jump back on again. Nice. Very stylish. Silken Knife is next. So it uses 2 command points, uses stratagem to start the charge phase. This is for Silent Shroud. Select a Silent Shroud unit from your army. Enemy units cannot fire Overwatch against the unit until in this phase. Nice. Very helpful. Overwatch is a bit of an issue for Harlequins. It can be. You can find your models being cut down on Overwatch. And it's tragic when that happens. It's not so good. So that's helpful. Webway ambush. 1 command point. This is regular Harlequins. Use the stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Choose a Webway gate from your army. Either 2 units in a Webway spar can emerge from that enemy that Webway gate this turn, or 1 unit can emerge from the Webway gate this turn and can be set up within 3 inches of it and more than 1 inch from any models. Yep. Okay. So again, bit of help then for that new new unit. So thankfully there's some stratagems that can really help out there. Still, I'm not so keen on the Webway gate. I'd spend them 120 points on more units. That's a troop, a 5-man troop well equipped. I'd rather spend it on that, I think, on other transport perhaps, or bikers. So we're on to the psychic powers now. Phantasmancy discipline. So, you know, you've got the same names here. Probably going to generally be the same as they were. Twilight Pathways then is the first one. Twilight Pathways, remember your Psycho's got Smite, at least, plus these. I think I didn't cover... Yeah, sorry, it's here. This model can attempt to manifest 2 psychic powers in each psychic phase. It can attempt to deny 1. It knows Smite and 2 powers from the Phantasmic Discipline. So that's your options then. Manifest 2 and deny 1. You can choose up to 2 powers here, as well as your Smite. So it's a well-equipped Psycho. Twilight Pathways is a warp charge value of 6, so there's a good chance of making this work. If manifested, select a friendly Harlequins unit within 3 inches of the Psycho and visible to it. This unit can immediately move as if it was the movement phase. You cannot use Twilight Pathways on a unit more than once in each psychic phase. Right, amazing. Really, really good. Now, a friendly Harlequins unit. Oh no, so you can use this on bikers. Oh no. Oh dear, you'd forget about contact on turn 2. This is contact on turn 1. Twilight Pathways is amazing. So you've got your, because remember you've got the biker 16-inch move, 22 inches with your automatic 6-inch advance. They are allowed to advance and charge. Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but that's 44 inches, unless you're only allowed to advance once in a turn. But I don't think so. I think it's move as if it were the movement phase. So you just do a normal movement, and that can involve advancing. And you're allowed to charge. I mean, madness. Yep. Yeah, and then you can play, if you've got the Silent Shroud, when you make that charge, there's no Overwatch. Terrifying. Amazing. It really is good. And then if you've got bikers, you've got to spread out. You can charge a whole line of stuff. A Tau gun line. And there's no Overwatch allowed. Terrifying. Incredible stuff. Right, so there's that. Fog of Dreams is next. So warp charge value of 6. Again, likely to make this one go off. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psycho and visible to it. To the start of your Psycho phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls for that unit that target Harlequin infantry units. It's quite limited, that one. And you're only stopping, or you're only slightly limiting 1 unit out of 20 odd. So that one's the one I'd take at the moment. Mirror of Minds. So I'd maybe take, I'm thinking like 2 Shadow Seers in the army. Give one of them 2 powers, and the other one 2 other powers, and then not worry about the other weaker ones. Something like that. Mirror of Minds is a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 24 of the Psycho. Then both players roll a d6. If the Harlequin player's roll is equal to or higher than their opponent's, the target suffers a mortal wound. Repeat the process until the target is destroyed, or the enemy player rolls a result that is higher than the Harlequin's player's roll. I don't see that being that particularly strong. it could go on forever, but but it's not really. There's no modifiers there to help you out. The only benefit is if it's equal. So I imagine there's times when you play Mirror of Minds, you roll a 1, and it's all over. Your opponent rolls a 2. So no, not skinning that one either. Little sort of small minor helps, these ones. I choose Smite over that, no problem. Veil of Tears is a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select a friendly Harlequins unit, infantry unit within 18 of the Psyker. So at the start of your next psychic phase, it's -1 to hit rolls for attacks against the unit. That's going to be for combat and for shooting. That one's okay. It's alright. Shards of Light. It's a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker invisible to it. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and must subtract 1 from its leadership characteristic to the start of your psychic phase. Yeah, so if you're starting to stack up things like, so you play Smite, Shards of Light, Hallucinogen Grenade Launcher, you're stacking up a load of mortal wounds. Yeah, so that one's alright. I think I like that one. Webway Dance is next. It's a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, then until the end of your next phase, roll a d6 whenever a Harlequins Harley unit within 6 inches of the Psyker loses a wound. On a 6, that wound is not lost. Yeah, it's alright. So helpful for things like the jet bikes, vehicles as well. Yep. Yeah. So you're going to get the odd 6 here and there, but it's only the odd time. So some of those are okay. Twilight Pathways is my favourite of those and the strongest, I think. Shards of Light's alright as well. It's not a bad one. The others are okay, but I think I'd be looking to play one of the more powerful ones. Twilight Pathway, Shards of Light, and then use the other ability to just dish out some Smite, I reckon. That's what we're looking to do. Right, so Warlord traits here, some even more bonuses available for these. So, it's good, there's some strength to strength, there's all good stuff for the Harlequins. Just tons of bonuses being stacked up. I think they were decent enough, and then now they've got access to tons of benefits here. So, this is your regular chart, and then you've got ones unique to your mask. So, Luck of the Laughing God is on a 1. Reroll hit rolls, wound rolls, and damage rolls of 1 for your Warlord. Reroll 1s. It's alright. Especially on his 2s to hit, so rerolling. It's okay. Usually. Fractal Storm. Your Warlord has a 3+ invuln save against melee weapons. Nice. 1 foot in the future. Add 2 inches to your Warlord's move characteristic. In addition, add 1 to the distance your Warlord can move each time it advances, falls back, charges, performs heroic intervention, piles in, or consolidates. Nice. Player of the Light. Reroll failed charge rolls to your Warlord and any friendly mask units within 6. That's a good one. Have him in the heart of your army. Helpful reroll of charges. Player of the Dark. Each wound roll of a 6 made for your Warlord's attacks in the fight phase inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to their normal damage. Nice. And then Player of the Twilight. Once per battle you can reroll a hit roll, wound roll, or a save roll made for your Warlord. In addition, if your army is battle forged, and your Warlord is on the battlefield, roll a d6 each time you or your opponent uses a stratagem. If the result exactly matches the number of command points spent to use that stratagem, you gain that many command points. Oh, right. Wow. Yeah, I like that one. So, for example, it has to exactly match the number. So you're not trying to roll under the number. So, for example, you or your opponent uses a stratagem and it's 1 command point. You need to roll that 1, and then you get that command point back, or that number of command points. Say if your opponent uses a stratagem that's 3 command points, and you then roll a dice and roll a 3, you get 3 command points. That one's good. Like that one, Player of the Twilight. Nice. Because command points and the use of those powerful stratagems is going to be really, really helpful. So then, depending on your mask, Midnight Sorrow, which is the ones I'm painting up. Each time roll is 6 for your Warlord in the fight phase. You score 2 hits instead of 1. In addition, add 1 to the hit rolls made by your Warlord against Chaos units. Okay, that's alright. Webway Walker. During deployment, you can set up your Warlord on the Webway instead of... This is for the Vowed Path here. You can set up your Warlord in the Webway instead of placing him on the battlefield. Your Warlord can emerge at the end of your movement phases, set him up on the battlefield anywhere more than 9 inches away from enemy units. Furthermore, you can use the Webway Assault stratagem twice. Cool. That one's good. Really, a lot of bonuses for that one. Our kin shall rise again. This is Frozen Stars. Roll a d6. Each time a Frozen Stars unit from your army within 6 inches of your Warlord loses its final wound. On a 6, that wound is not lost. The model is not slain. This Warlord trait has no effect if the unit is under the effects of Webway Dance. Psychic power. Right, that's alright. Yeah, not very good. I don't think. No, it's alright, it's okay. Not bad, but it's 6s, it's not going to happen too much. Dreaming Shadow mask here, the Warden of the Dead. Add 1 to any somber sentinel rolls made by Dreaming Shadow units with your army, from your army within 6 inches of Warlord. Add 2 instead whilst there are Necrons on the battlefield. Any Necrons on the battlefield. Soaring Spite mask, they get Sky Strider. Your Warlord can disembark from transport even after it's moved. Interesting. And then Silent Shroud, the final joke. If your Warlord is slain in the fight phase, roll a d6 on a 2+. The unit that killed your Warlord suffers d3 mortal wounds after it's finished making all of its attacks. On 6, the enemy unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. Nice. That's alright with that tactically, that one's that good. I like Player of the Twilight then. I'm a fan of trying to regain command points if at all possible. It's nice to have a trickle of those coming back. An opportunity there to actually get quite a few if you roll well. Right, so 2 pages here of relics available now for these. And again, these are free of charge for one of them, and then you can pay command points. Use a stratagem to get access to more. So I'm going to be on the hunt here for the strongest one that I'm going to get for free, and then whether it's worth paying command points to take more. That's the question. So, Mask of Secrets. The bear increases the leadership by 1. In addition, all enemy units reduce their leadership by 1 whilst within 6 inches of the bear. I don't think I'll bother with that. But there's things where you're looking to stack up minuses to morale. It's quite complicated to do. You've got to remember all the abilities, weapons and things like this that stack up. You got to remember where they are and coordinate it. I think it's quite a complicated thing to do, but there's things that stack up where you can make your opponent fail morale tests more likely and then lose more models as well. So that's another tactic, but I think it's quite complicated to do it. You've got to know what you're doing. The Storage Sword, model with a power sword only. It replaces it with +1 strength, AP -3 and D3 damage, and reroll failed hit rolls for this weapon. So it's nasty. Yeah. And you're only paying like 4 points for a power sword, and you're turning it into something that's actually pretty good. Really good. The Suit of Hidden Knives. Roll a d6 each time a hit roll of 1 is made for an enemy model targeting the wearer in the fight phase. On 2+, that model's unit suffers a mortal wound after the unit has resolved all of its attacks. It's alright, you need to remember you have that, but that's quite good. It's alright. Crescendo is next. This is the pistol here. Yeah, it's range 12. Pistol D6, strength 4, AP 0, 2 damage. Each time you make a wound of a 6 with this weapon, it's AP -3. So Crescendo is pretty good. Star Mist Raiment. The wearer has a 3+ invuln save against ranged weapons. In addition, enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at the bearer during the turn in which it advanced and charged. Yep, that's a good one. Nice. Yeah, that one's a good one. The Laughing God's Eye is next. Friendly Harlequins units automatically pass morale tests whilst within 6 inches of the wearer. In addition, roll a d6 each time a friendly Harlequins unit suffers a mortal wound in the psychic phase whilst within 6 inches of the wearer. On a 6, that mortal wound is ignored. That one's alright as well. Segarax Rose. This is a Harlequin's Kiss. It's +1 strength, AP -1, d3 damage, the same. You reroll failed wound rolls to this weapon. When attacking infantry, it has a damage of 3. Okay. This is not graded Harlequin's Kiss. The Midnight's Chime. This is for Midnight's Sorrow. Model only. Once per battle at the beginning of the fight phase, the bearer can activate Midnight's Chime. To the end of the phase, all Midnight's Sorrow units increase their attacks by 1. Whilst within 6 inches of the bearer. Wow. That's a good one. Just at the right point when you're making you're striking with your most power, your highest concentration units, just activate that one. Extra attacks, nice. The Mirror's Stave. This is Vowed Path Shadowseer. This is the replacement. You can shoot with it. Range 12, assault 6. Strength is down here. AP -1, 1 damage. The Mirror's Stave melee is AP -1, d3 damage. The wound roll required for this weapon in the shooting phase is equal to the target's unmodified ballistic skill. For example, if the weapon targets a unit of ballistic skill 3+, the weapon will wound on a 3+. The wound roll required for this weapon in the fight phase is equal to the target unit's unmodified weapon skill. If the unit contains models of different ballistic skill, weapon skill characteristics, use the best characteristic in the unit. If the target's ballistic skill, weapon skill is dash, then the wound is a 6+. That was complicated, so I wouldn't bother with that. I'm looking for things that are easy to remember, and if something's good, you remember it as well. I've found, if it's something that's a fiddly, not much of a bonus, you forget about it during a game. But Midnight's Chime, you'd be in a game, you'd be like, remember to use it, because it's good. So I like that one there. The extra attacks. The Ghoul Mask is Frozen Stars. The wearer of the Ghoul Mask can attempt to deny 1 psychic power in the psychic phase if it is a psyker, in the same manner as a psyker. If it already is a psyker, it may attempt to deny 1 more psychic power than usual. In addition, add 1 to deny the witch tests made for the bearer. It's helpful. Curtain Fall. Dreaming Shadow Death Jester. Curtain Fall replaces the bearer's Shrieker Cannon. So Shrieker is range 30, so improved range. Assault 1, Strength 7, -3. Ugh. Powerful, nice. And then Curtain Fall is range 30, Assault 3, Strength 7, -2. When attacking with this weapon, choose one of the profiles above. Each time you make a wound roll of a 6+ to this weapon, it's AP -4. Each time an infantry model is slain by an attack, it's d3 mortal wounds. If any models in a unit are slain by this weapon, subtract 2 from the leadership. That's all the usual for that, but that's a nasty shuriken or shrieker or shuriken round there. Shrieker cannon. So it's a nice way of fixing the Death Jester. Not only there's some slight tweaks, but with the help of relics and so on, you can get they're scary now. Cheap. If allowed to choose Talon, Soaring Spite is model only. While the wearer is embarked on a Soaring Spite transport, that model can move an additional 6 inches in the movement phase. In addition, if a Soaring Spite transport is destroyed whilst the bearer is embarked upon it, you do not need to roll any dice to see if any disembarking models are slain, or if the transport explodes. No disembarking models are slain, the transport does not explode. And then Scintillant Veil, Silent Shroud, Troopmaster or Shadowseer only, increase the range of all weapons. Increase the range of all the wearer's aura abilities by 3 inches. So instead of 6, it becomes 9. For the reroll wounds, for example. And that is about it here for the Harlequins. So that's the review for it. So continuing the trait really for Harlequins, for codexes that are coming out, the Games Workshop are reducing. Generally the factions seem to be being improved. As the codex comes out, the armies become more and more powerful. So this is no exception here. Harlequins, I think, are already good, and now, just if you really research this and coordinate everything really well, your stratagems, warlord traits, relics, and so on, you can make a terrifying army. I really think there's real potential for these. I think their shooting weapons are excellent, their close combat weapons are excellent. Yes, the army's on the fragile side, but you can protect it to some degree, you know, minuses to hit and so on. A lot of invuln saves available, and then the speed of them means that you can close down the ranges super quick, very, very quick. So, you know, can't wait for the day when I'm going to aim for a 2,000 point army of pure Harlequins. And what an army it'll be. I mean, as I was discussing this with James, you know, whoever they fight, it's just going to be a great fun game, and what a spectacle to watch. Imagine games like Harlequins versus Ultramarines, Harlequins versus Guard, Harlequins versus Blood Angels, Necrons, all of those combinations. Very much looking forward to the day when we can do that. So, got a fair bit of painting to do, to say the least. Some units are finished. I've been painting some, and then now with the Codex arriving, it's going to be the inspiration to get stuck into these again. So looking forward to that. So what I'd say is keep a lookout for the next stage for these. Will be a army development video over on the Plus channel. That'll be the first sign of something starting to emerge for the Harlequins. There I propose a list. It'll be 2,000 points, and then on the Plus channel you're able to leave your comments and feedback, suggestions, big changes, small changes, and so on. That's what the army development series is all about. It means that you can have an influence on the actual final army that's put together as well. So it's a great place for discussion, that series. And then after that, further down the line, I'll be putting the units together and so on, and then you start to perhaps see them emerge in smaller games. Usually playing the smaller games with the newer factions and so on the Plus channel, so keep a lookout for them on there as well. And then starting to see Tactica videos for different units on the regular channel, and then battle reports as well. And then with that, once the army's finished, comes the army overview video, and then the introduction to the faction as well. So, and then painting tutorials also, hope to do with these. But just, I've got different types of armies on the channel. There's a nice big gap for these, and what a unique army. There's no army like them. They're entirely different, I think, to Eldar even as well, and Dark Eldar, a completely different style. So, very much looking forward to seeing these making their appearance. So that's the review. Remember, we're talking about different combinations for your masks, for your troop units, so what size, loadouts, and so on. Fascinating to see what you have to say on that in the comment section below. As I mentioned earlier, Games Workshop very kindly sent me a copy along. I usually get mine, Games Workshop stuff, from gamingfigures.com. You can check them out. They do Games Workshop at a discounted rate, as well as a load of other gaming systems as well. But that's the review for Harlequins. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time.